The lions hadn't eaten in days. Their glowing eyes pierced through the darkness, restless and hungry, pacing back and forth in the pit that had become a place of death for many. And then suddenly, a man was thrown into their den. Not a warrior trained for battle, not a criminal deserving punishment, not even a rebel fighting against a king, but a simple man whose only crime was that he refused to stop praying. What kind of faith keeps a man calm when death is staring him in the face? What kind of conviction makes someone choose obedience to God over survival? This is the story of Daniel, a man who stood when others bowed, a man who chose faith over fear, a man who walked into a den of lions, and walked out alive. Daniel was not even supposed to be in Babylon. He had been taken from his homeland as a captive, stripped of everything familiar, his culture, his people, his comfort. Yet, even in a foreign land, one thing remained untouched: his faith in God. Over the years, Daniel distinguished himself, not through manipulation or ambition, but through integrity, wisdom, and excellence. There was something different about him, something that made kings notice. When King Darius rose to power, he quickly recognized Daniel's exceptional spirit. Daniel was trustworthy, disciplined, and incapable of corruption. In a kingdom filled with political schemes and hidden agendas, Daniel stood out like a light in darkness. So the king did something unexpected. He elevated Daniel above all the officials in the land. But promotion often attracts opposition, and while Daniel was rising, others were quietly plotting his fall. The other officials were filled with jealousy. They could not understand how a foreigner, someone who did not even belong to their land, could be placed above them. Their pride turned into resentment, and their resentment into a dangerous plan. They searched for faults in Daniel's life, hoping to find something they could use against him. They examined his work, observed his habits, and scrutinized his character. But Daniel was blameless. There was no corruption in him, no dishonesty, no weakness they could exploit. And that's when they realized something critical. If they were going to bring Daniel down, it would have to be through his devotion to God. They knew he would never compromise his faith, and that would be his greatest vulnerability. With this realization, they approached King Darius with a deceptive plan. They flattered him, appealing to his ego and authority, suggesting that for 30 days, no one in the kingdom should pray to any god or man except the king himself. Anyone who disobeyed this decree would be thrown into the lion's den. The king, not fully realizing the trap being set, agreed and signed the decree into law. In that moment, everything changed. Prayer became illegal. Faith became punishable by death. The law was sealed, and there was no turning back. Now the question remained, what would Daniel do? When Daniel learned about the decree, he did not panic. He did not call for a meeting or try to negotiate his way out. He did not even attempt to hide his faith. Instead, he went home, opened his windows toward Jerusalem, and knelt down to pray, just as he had always done. Morning, afternoon, and night, Daniel continued his routine without fear or hesitation. He understood the consequences. He knew that his actions could cost him his life. But his commitment to God was greater than his fear of death. While others might have chosen silence to save themselves, Daniel chose faithfulness, even if it meant facing the lions. As expected, the officials were watching. They caught Daniel in the act and immediately went to the king. They reminded him of the decree he had signed and then revealed that Daniel had violated the law. In that moment, the king realized he had been deceived. This was never about honoring him, it was about destroying Daniel. Darius was deeply distressed. He valued Daniel and did not want to see him harmed. All day, he tried to find a way to save him, searching for loopholes, hoping for an escape. But the law of the Medes and Persians could not be changed. Even the king himself was bound by it. As the sun began to set, the inevitable could no longer be delayed. Daniel would have to face the lions. The scene was heavy with tension as Daniel was brought to the den. The growls of the lions echoed from below, sending chills through everyone present. This was no ordinary punishment, it was a death sentence. Yet Daniel stood there calmly, without resistance or fear. The king, filled with sorrow, spoke to him with a trembling voice, expressing hope that Daniel's God would deliver him. Then, without further delay, Daniel was thrown into the den. A stone was rolled over the entrance, sealing his fate. Darkness surrounded him, and the sounds of the lions grew louder. From a human perspective, this was the end. There was no escape, no rescue, no second chance. Inside the den, the lions began to move closer. Their instincts told them it was time to attack, to devour the prey that had just been delivered to them. But something unexpected happened. Daniel did not run. He did not scream. Instead, he prayed. In that moment of surrender, heaven intervened. God sent an angel who shut the mouths of the lions. The creatures that were meant to destroy him suddenly lost their aggression. They circled him, but they did not touch him. The den that was designed for death became a place of divine protection. Daniel spent the entire night there, not in terror, but in peace, surrounded by danger yet completely untouched. Back at the palace, the king could not sleep. His heart was heavy with regret and anxiety. He refused food, entertainment, or comfort. His thoughts were consumed by one question: had Daniel survived? The night felt endless, each moment stretching with uncertainty. As soon as the first light of dawn appeared, the king rushed to the den. His voice trembled as he called out, hoping against hope, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God been able to save you from the lions?" For a brief moment, there was silence. Then from within the darkness, a voice responded, calm, strong, and alive. Daniel declared that God had sent his angel to protect him, and he was completely unharmed. Overwhelmed with joy, the king ordered that Daniel be lifted out of the den immediately. As they pulled him up, it became clear that not a single scratch was on him. Not a wound, not a mark, nothing. It was undeniable. This was not luck. This was not chance. This was the power of God. The same lions that could have torn him apart had been completely restrained. Daniel's faith had not only saved his life, but it had also revealed God's power to an entire kingdom. Justice was swift. The men who had plotted against Daniel were thrown into the same den, and this time, the lions did not hold back. Before they even reached the bottom, the lions overpowered them. The contrast was clear. Daniel was saved not because the lions were weak, but because God was strong. King Darius, deeply moved by what had happened, issued a new decree throughout the kingdom. He commanded that everyone should fear and reverence the God of Daniel, declaring him as the living God whose kingdom would never be destroyed and whose power would never end. Daniel's faith had done more than protect him, it had transformed an entire nation. This story leaves us with a powerful question. What would you do if you were in Daniel's place? When faced with pressure, fear, or even danger, would you stand firm in your faith, or would you compromise to survive? The lions we face today may not have teeth and claws, but they are just as real: fear, doubt, opposition, and challenges that test our beliefs. Daniel did not wait until he was in trouble to trust God. He built his faith long before the crisis came. And when the moment of testing arrived, he stood unshaken. If this story has moved you, if it has challenged you to stand firm no matter what you face, then this is your moment to take a step further. Subscribe now and become part of a journey where faith is strengthened, hope is renewed, and powerful stories like this remind you that no matter how dark your situation may seem, God is still in control. Just like Daniel, you can come out of your own battles unharmed. The lions were real. The danger was real. But so was God. And in the end, faith won.